Did someone say book haul? Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and on today's video I'm talking you through my summer book haul. I say this in summer where it is currently pouring down with rain and yet still so warm indoors that I need to have the window open. So I will disclaim you might hear the traffic and I do apologise for that. It's just I cannot physically film in this room without some sort of window or fan on, window open or fan on, and yeah. Anyway, during the summer I was hoping that I wouldn't have too many books, but I do have a fair few. Mostly due to a haul that I did when I was visiting my parents in July. I always go charity shopping over there with my stepmom, and I usually pick up some good bargains, and it did not disappoint. You know, I need to move to a different town because the books in this town suck. I've got a mixture of pre-orders, publisher mail, some ebook deals, and physical books that I've bought, so I'm going to go through them bit by bit. The first thing I'm going to talk about is publisher mail, so that includes the NetGalley books that I got, because I did do very well. I only applied for a couple of books over on NetGalley this month, like this season, but I did still get a few, and one of them is my most anticipated book of the entire year. So yeah. So yeah, very excited, much happy about that. So from NetGalley I got 3 books. We have, no, 4 books. We have Legend of the White Swan by Shirley. I applied for this one because I read Fate Dates and Mooncakes in like April or May, fell in love with her writing, fell in love with that book. So as soon as I saw there was another one of her books on NetGalley, I immediately applied. This is a kind of Chinese historical fiction, and it's a queer YA romantasy, and I have an upcoming video where I'm going to be trying to read romantasy, so we shall see. A snake spirit transforms into a boy and must hide his true identity after falling for a headstrong prince in this lush romantasy retelling of the traditional Chinese folktale Legend of the White Snake. Sounds great. Then, keeping on with the Asian theme, I have a translated fiction which is called The Rainfall Market by Yu Yongwan. This is a Korean fiction, an uplifting and healing gift of a book that asks, would you trade your life for another one? On the first day of the monsoon, an old ramshackle building appears. This is the Rainfall Market. Inside you will find magical bookstores, hairdressers, perfumeries, and anything your heart desires, but you cannot enter without an invitation. The main character basically gets inside and she's given the opportunity to swap her life for a new and better life. She has just 1 week to choose the perfect life and find true happiness, but there is a catch. If she doesn't find her dream life, she'll be trapped inside the market forever. That sounds really good. I then got The House of the Witch by Claire Marchant, and this one says a brand new spellbinding historical mystery for fans of Wayward, which I did love. I gave 5 stars, and that's why I chose this one. And it's a dual timeline. It's basically 2 women in time and how their lives intertwine. I've read similar books like Wayward and The Girl from Ballymore, but it could be a really lovely one and I want to give it a go. And then we have the one, the only, Celestial fucking Monsters by Aidan Thomas. I am not kidding you, I squealed when I got the email and my uncle was like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? We all know I'm an Aidan Thomas stan. Cemetery Boys is my all-time favourite YA. I've read it twice, I've loved it twice. Lost in the Neverwoods was not as good, but I did enjoy it. Sunbearer Trials is up there with one of my all-time favourites. And now Celestial Monsters. I'm going to be reading both of these back to back and I am so excited and I just cannot wait to get into this one. So those were and it is my most anticipated book for this entire year, I believe. I'm pretty sure. So those were the NetGalley books. Then for other publisher mail, I had 2 books. I had More Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. This was very kindly gifted to me by the publishers. They were like, hey, would you be interested? And I owned the first book, so I was like, yeah, I would really love that actually. I don't know if it will show up on the camera, but it has a little stamp on it. Like, it has an embossed from the Morisaki Bookshop. And I just think it's such the cutest thing ever, and it just made it a little bit more personal. So I ended up reading this and the Morisaki Bookshop back to back, and I really enjoyed both. I think I gave both sort of 3.5, 4 stars, so they were good. And yeah, I now have both together, and it was a really lovely read. Definitely, I've now read a few translated fics from sort of Japan and Korea, and I'm definitely noticing a similar sort of theme with them, where they sort of follow a similar kind of vein. But I really like the wholesomeness and the coziness it gives. And then the other one that unfortunately wasn't a success, it has ended up a DNF, but this was No Romeo by Donna Allam, that I was sent from Tandem as part of like a group read along, and the idea was to, you know, annotate the book as a group, which I started to do. You can see I did start with my annotations and highlights. Unfortunately, by the end of the 5th chapter, I knew I wasn't going to enjoy this one. So I contacted Tandem and I was like, I'm really sorry, but I'm not enjoying it. It's not for me. And this is my 2nd try with a billionaire romance, and I think this is just a trope that's just not for me. Then we have the books that Then I have a couple of books that were gifted to me, and in that there are 3, although I seem to have lost one. Where the fuck have I put that? Oh, come on. Did I put it down somewhere? Come on. I think I left it downstairs. That's annoying and dumb. So I had 3 books gifted to me from I had 3 books gifted to me. All 3 were on the same day, and these were a gift from my uncle. He asked me to help him out with some stuff a couple of weeks ago, and I did, and as a thank you he took me into the works and I got a 3 for £6 thing. The first of these is Love Me Do by Lindsay Kelk that I've left downstairs, and I do not want to go back down and do it. And with this one, we're basically following the main character who, she is on vacation in LA, staying with her sister, and she meets one of her sister's personal trainer. They become friends, and then she decides to set her up with the neighbour who very clearly is interested in her. It's a whole big deal. I then got Death of a Bookseller by Alice Slater, which I normally wouldn't pick up, but I kind of saw the cover and thought that looks interesting, and then it's about a bookseller and books, so I was like, obviously I need to read that. And it's like, would you kill for a good story? And it follows Roach, who is a bookseller and a true crime obsessive, has no interest in making friends until Laura joins the bookshop, and Roach senses a darkness within Laura, the same darkness Roach possesses, and as Roach's curiosity blooms into morbid obsession, it becomes clear that she is prepared to infiltrate Laura's life at any cost. So who is the death of the bookseller? Who is the bookseller that's going to die? We shall find out. And then one that is actually on my NetGalley shelf right now, but I haven't gotten around to reading yet, but I just know I'm gonna love it, and that is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwang, and this one follows Helen Zhang and Grant Shepard. She is a best-selling author, he is a screenwriter, and the 2 of them are put together to adapt Helen's books for television, only they do not like each other in any way, shape or form. So those were the 3 that I got from the works, from like as a thank you from my uncle. I have one book that was a pre-order, and that was Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is book 2 in the series. I've got book 1 somewhere behind me here. So I have book 1, Realmbreaker, that I still have not read despite having owned it for 2 years now. And I also have Bladebreaker, so those are the first 2 in the series. I'm really annoyed that the reds are different. Like, yeah, like, why could it not have been the same shade of red? I'm hoping the third one's going to be another shade of red, so we have like a little ombre effect, otherwise I'm going to be pissed. But I can't really say anything because I've not even looked at the back of this to look at the blurb because I haven't read the first one. I don't want to spoil myself for anything, but it's book 2 in this series. I just grabbed it because I was like, well, I already have the Waterstones edition of book 1, might as well get book 2, and then I will get book 3 when it comes out, because let's face it, I probably won't have read those 2 by that point. And then the rest are all books that I've bought. Starting off with, you know, I've told you in the past about my local supermarket has a charity bookshop, so bookcase. So it's got a little pot there and you just put the money in and the money goes to the charity, and it's super, super cheap. And I picked up 2 books. So the first is The Florist by C.L. Patterson. She knows your secrets, but do you know hers? It follows, she is a florist. She's hired for a job, and while she's at that job there is a murder, and then some of her own secrets end up becoming unveiled throughout all of this. So I have decided I want to try some thrillers and more horror type books this year. I normally avoid them, but I have decided to give them a try, and this one did catch my attention. And then I picked up another one that's on my NetGalley, and as the book was only 50p, I thought I can't not. It's only just come out. It's a brand new book, hardback at that, and that's As Young as This by Roxy Dunn. And this follows a woman, and she's basically going through all of her different love interests. And from what I can tell, it's got a bit of a commentary about how early kids are exposed to sexualization and how we're more likely to put ourselves in these vulnerable positions when we're younger. And yeah, it's definitely, it says, a gorgeously observed novel about youth and womanhood. I just thought I would pick it up as it was only 50p. A few books that I bought just as Amazon books. I've got The Boyfriend Subscription by Stephen Salvatore. It's kind of Pretty Woman-esque in that you've got the big rich guy and the guy that's down on his feet, down on his knees, completely just been obliterated by his ex-husband, and they enter an agreement where he'll get paid, where the rich guy will pay the poor guy $10,000 for spending a week with him and attending his sister's wedding with him and pretending to be his boyfriend, only they're going to fall in love along the way. I've been really enjoying this one. I'm just over halfway. I've got it for the plus size readathon that is happening over on Instagram this month in August, and I am really enjoying it. And for once, it's lovely to read a book that's been written by a male-male romance that's written by a male author. We need more of that, please. Then I've picked up a very short novella called What'll It Be by Emma Mugglestone. This is for an upcoming vlog series thing that I'm going to be doing, because while I'm in Australia, I'm going to a convention in January for like Australian romance authors. It's called A Romantic Affair. If you're not already going, please do. And I've gone through the entire list of authors, picked a few whose books I'm interested in, and this was the only one that I saw that had a book in physical format that was sort of in my affordability bracket. So this one was like £7 or something. So I picked it up and I'm going to be reading it for that vlog. Then in town, after, you know, I do my little thing where when I'm a big girl and I go to my appointments, I treat myself to a book. I picked up The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I've heard a lot about this one. I know a lot of people have liked it. I'm also doing the 52 in 52 book challenge, and one of the prompts is to read a book written by a ghostwriter. I've struggled to find a book, but this is a book about a ghostwriter, so I figured that would count. And I have enjoyed, obviously I have issues with the Geekerella series, especially when we got to the final book, but certainly for the first book of the Geekerella series, I loved her writing. So I am looking forward to trying this one. And then I bought I wasn't going to buy this book, it wasn't really on my radar, but because I've kind of entered into my sort of gothic fantasy, like moody, atmospheric, borderline horror-esque type reading, where I've read sort of The Raven Cycle, then I've done Starling House, then I did Wayward Children, and I've really been enjoying that kind of darker themed, but not full-on horror. I had Belladonna recommended to me, and I saw that Waterstones had this gorgeous edition. So not only do we have these beautiful like pink front, we also have what I think is one of the most gorgeous foiling underneath. Like these the birds, and I think it's beautiful. And it's signed and it's got some extra bits inside. So, you know. And then finally we have the very small stack that I picked up when I was on holiday in July, and a lot of these are self-published, which was incredible. One of the charity shops, there was just stacks of self-published indie books, and the people running the shop weren't even aware of it. But the ones that weren't self-published first, I picked up Dating Dr. Dill. It's a fake dating between two people who have had a fallout and now they're fake dating each other because she wants to buy the house from her childhood that her father wants to sell, but he won't let her buy it unless she is married. He needs investors for a project that he wants to do, and so basically he's not getting investors because he's not seen as like a wholesome family man. So they're like, hey, let's pretend to date, let's pretend to be engaged so that you can get the funding and I can get the house. You know? And then I got 2 Tessa Baileys, both of which I have since been persuaded that maybe Tessa Bailey isn't going to be for me. I was watching one of Brittany's live shows the other day, reading sprints, and the way that not only her and Brie from Four Paws and a Books were talking about Tessa Bailey, but multiple people in the chat were corroborating that not only does she always include an unnecessary third act breakup, but that she just doesn't know how to write endings. I have since decided that as intriguing as both of these are, I'm not interested. And especially Fix Her Up, I heard only negative things on that sprint, I think, or mid to... So I've decided that I'm just not even going to bother with these. But I did buy them, but I'm not going to read them. And then we have all of the self-published books. The first of these is A Murder of Saints by Chris Miller. It's basically Sophie Fields' little girl tortured by her memories of Damien Smith, a much-loved and respected church elder with a secret love for the unmentionable. After his misdeeds are covered up by church leaders, she climbs off to the roof of her house and jumps to her death right in front of her brother Charlie. 20 years later, Detective Harry Fletcher is still haunted by the personal demons associated with the church cover-up. After losing his faith, his wife, and now his partner, Fletcher learns that Charlie Fields has come back in town for one mission: to kill everyone responsible for his sister's death. It is Fletcher's job to track and stop the crazed killer. So that could be really interesting, especially as it says that it starts to uncover even more corruption within the church system. Then I picked up what is actually book 4 in a series without meaning to, but it sounded so good, and the author has confirmed that I can read them in any order. And it's basically a bodyguard and the person he's protecting, and they end up falling for each other. So it's a male-male romance with that kind of bodyguard trope, like, and forbidden love trope that I kind of do like, so I'm excited for this one. Then we have Forsaken Thrones by L.L. Stiles, and this is three sisters formed into weapons, one called to fight for the Queen. The other 2 are determined to find their own paths, but if 3 are brought back together, could they be the key to ending the Queen's terrible war? And it's like a survival story where it's like Ellie finds allies in the most unlikely of people: a young elf, a cunning witch, and a haughty fae. We all like haughty characters, who doesn't? Then we have Seeking Eternity, which is a Megaverse novel, and it's the first by Meg M. Robinson, and it's a mug-and-changed page's life. She's saved by a handsome stranger who leaves without giving her his name. A stranger she soon discovers is a witch. He takes her on as an apprentice, and for years life is good. She learns about magic and her own powers, and becomes entirely too interested in her mentor. And then he sends her on this task to get this relic. Unfortunately, chaos ensues, and she ends up being helped by a wolf shifter to try and find it, and I imagine there's going to be feelings there as well. And then the final one was a hardback that I got for £1. I was like, what on earth is going on? And this is Sacred Scars by Keely Hargis. I haven't looked under the dust jacket! Oh my god! How cool is this? Wow! I hadn't even looked under the desk jacket of this one. I should have. I really should have. That's so cool. Trust no one. And the blurb is in the back, not the front, which is weird. Haven McKinley is trying her best to get through life unseen. She is what they call a bringer of truth, an assassin with an unforgettable scar covering her face and a target on her back. Being an assassin for the messengers of truth comes with a big responsibility, avenging the dead and outing the secrets that people with money tried to bury. Haven is out to get justice for those taken too soon by the hands of evil, and nothing will stop her from getting the job done. That was her mission until a group of men started going after her and the other women in the Messengers of Truth. With new targets on her organisation's back, Haven is left making desperate deals with men she never expected and handing her heart out over to those who may just crush it. So yeah. I then have a few ebooks. Most of these are ones that I bought as part of my trying to find books for the Australia, reading Australian authors and sort of deciding what authors I would like to meet. Why have I just pulled up the bus app instead of Amazon? So we have The Lightcrest Contract, which is by Luna Lawson and is a female sapphic romance. Kaylee James' Wild Heart, which is a dark fantasy romance. Loved Cursed by Liesl Layton, which is another sort of paranormal fae romance thing. And then the Vermilion Ribbon, which is another sapphic romance, which is by Hayley Price. I also picked up Now She Is Witched by Kirsty Logan because the hardcover was on offer during Prime Day for like £3, so I was like, I can't not. And then two Little Thieves by Margaret Owen and A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher are 2 audiobooks, so those were like my Audible purchases throughout that time. And then I also picked up on ebook The Undetectables by Courtney Smythe, or Smith, I'm not sure. Lonely in Paris by Lisa Stambridge, which again is one of the Australian books. Heartstopper Volume 5, because again that was on a special deal that I got. And then 2 books on the Amazon First Reads, where it's like they allow you, if you're a Prime member, you can get access to books early. And so I got Nine-Tailed, which is a Kitsune novel and follows a sort of nine-tailed fox demon, and Not What She Seems, which is a thriller, I believe. So that is everything that I got throughout the summer. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these and what you thought about them. I'm especially interested in the indie books. It'll be really interesting to see what people have read. Also let me know if you have hauled anything new and exciting recently. I'm always interested to hear. In the meantime, I hope you're all good. I hope you're staying safe. Don't forget to check out my Patreon and Etsy, both which are linked below, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!